Hello my friends, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and today we're going to do a bit of an experiment. And you can see I've changed my setup a little bit. I have put my yoga mat on the floor and we're going to do some floor work. Now most of you will probably not have done that at all. And this makes for a very different experience. An experience that I really wanted to share with you because it may tell you a lot about what goes on in your standing up violin playing. So we're going to start without our instruments, but I'd like you to have it sort of near you. So if you don't have a yoga mat, that doesn't matter at all. You can just lie on your carpet or on a blanket or anything. You might even do it on your bed if you like, even more comfortable. Now I'm going to put my violin somewhere by my side where I can reach it very easily, and I'm just going to make myself comfortable on the floor, and I'm just going to lie on my back with my knees up and my feet sort of level with my hips. And what I'd like you to do first is feel if you can touch the floor with all of your back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck my pelvis under a little bit more so that I haven't got any space to put my hand under there. So my back is flush with the floor, and when you do that, let's put your hands on your tummy and let's check in with our breathing like we have done before. But you may well find that when you do this low breathing into your tummy, it's much easier to feel when you lie down on the floor. And now I want you to breathe in through your nose, and I want you to feel that you're breathing into your hands. And then breathe out through your mouth. And let's practice that for a couple more breaths. So breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as we get settled in, I'd like you to try and make your breaths deeper, but let's just double check that you have no space here where you can put your hands. If that is the case, just lift your hips up and make sure that your back is flush with your mat. So here we go. Breathe in as deep as you can through your nose. And out through your mouth. And again, breathe into your hands. Feel your hands come up as you breathe in. And out. And this way we're setting ourselves up for what is coming because we're trying to really feel the floor through the whole of our backs. And what I'd like you to do, maybe it's easier, maybe you can find your shoulders and feel them touch the floor much better when your hands are by your side. If not, I still can't feel my left shoulder. You might try to lie down with cactus arms, like this. And now I can feel my left shoulder touch the floor. And it just makes you realise how far this left shoulder has come up. And in my case, that's 3 years of violin playing. I've got a little bit lopsided. And this way I can feel myself get back into shape again and even it out on my shoulders. So feel that both shoulders are touching the ground equally firmly, although they're just lying there. Okay, and for some it might be easier if you have your arms by your side. Now let's lift your shoulders up towards your ears, and this is an exercise that we've done before as well, and I just want you to realise that your shoulders are actually in their lowest position. Alright, now if you can pick up your violin now, see if you can do that. Mine is right here by my side, and I'm going to put it where I normally have my violin. Stick it into your neck like that, and I don't know if you want to do it like this, like we did before. Go very, very slowly. Let's float it into your neck like that. Okay, or you might have opted for the other method. Go via the centre and now slide it up on your collarbone. And both ways work really well. I'm going to put my right hand on my tummy again, so that in a minute I'm going to connect with my breathing again. But I just want you to feel, now that your head is flat on the floor, how much it makes you realise how much you are not gripping the chin rest. Because you can't unless you go like that. But I for one couldn't hold it like that for very long. So leave your head where it is on the floor and just realise how much you would otherwise, when you stand up, move your neck forward to get your chin on the chin rest, or your jaw on the chin rest, you see. And this is one of the things that I wanted to share with you today, is that it makes you realise, and it made me realise when I first experienced this, how far off kilter my neck normally is. Now, what you might also feel is that when your violin's like this, it is actually having gravity push it into your neck like that. Okay, so it's pushing down into your neck, and this may also make you realise, if your violin is normally a little bit further forward like that, how it's not into your neck but maybe just on your chest. So if that is the case, when you are playing, try to slide it up your collarbone again, so that you can really feel it on the side of your neck. And I think this makes you realise just how different standing up violin playing is compared with when we're normally nice and straight like this when we're lying down. Okay, so now I want you to also check the angle of your violin like this, and you can feel now that if I'm tilting my violin too much to the right, it's actually touching my jaw here. So that gives me a nice opportunity to assess how I normally hold the violin. Is it nice and flat? And in a minute we'll come to think about this a little bit more. Or is it very much on its side? And if that's you and you feel it here, you feel it touching here on your jaw, you might experiment with getting your violin a little bit flatter today. Now then, shall we pick up the bow? Let me see where my bow's gone. Okay. Now, let's now play an open string, and let's play on the A string. Just play an open A here with a long bow. And I want you to hold it here. And I want you to feel how different that feels when you play that long bow and your arm is sticking up straight into the air. And this is what I say so often. Point your bow arm forwards and make sure that you stretch your bow arm, and this way it is so much easier to feel if you're totally straight. So let's do that again on the A string. There we go. And now let's move back. So play an up bow and a down bow again. And an up bow, and feel how gravity is pulling your bow up. Now that's a weird experience, isn't it? And again. All the way up and all the way down. Awesome. Okay. Now I couldn't really play on the D string because then my bow is touching the floor, you see. So if that is the same in your case, if you can't play on your D string because the point of your bow is touching the ground, the angle of your violin is more or less right. If your violin is too much on its side and you can play on the D string without, or even maybe on the G string, and you are not yet touching the floor with the point of your bow, then you have to reassess whether you can perhaps flatten your violin a little bit more. And this way it's just so much easier to gauge whether you've got roughly the right angle for your violin. So let's go on to the E string now. Let's do a long, very slow bow. And I think you could probably also feel that when you play the point on the E string, your arm is really straight here, so it comes about at this angle, which is very, very different, isn't it? Let's think now about your bow hold, because your bow hold is also very different now, because the balance of the bow is very different now that you've got, especially when you're at the heel of the bow, and most of your bow is actually falling down this way. Okay, so you feel how the bow pivots onto your thumb when you're in this lying down position, which just gives you a little bit of a different way of thinking about the bow hold, isn't it? Before we play a couple more bow strokes in a moment, if you need to take a break, just take a break and just reset your back, because it's not so easy to do that. So again, I'm just going to lift my hips up and make sure that my back is flush with the floor here. Let's reset the violin. Let's just hold it here now. And let's put your hand on your tummy. And let's see what happens with your violin when you concentrate on your breathing this time. So let's breathe in through the nose, your deepest breath ever, so that you can feel it better. So breathe into that hand on your tummy. And out. And let's try that again. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. And I think you can feel with me that the violin's not static here. It's moving with my breath. If you haven't experienced that yet, just try it again and feel what your violin's doing. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now if I'm exaggerating a little bit, I can show you what happens. And this is something else that I wanted to share with you, because that violin, when it sits onto your shoulder, is never still, it's never stuck there. It is moving. And this way your instrument will come alive a bit more, rather than having it stuck here and be still here. With this exercise, I'm hoping that I'm encouraging you to make the violin move with the movements of your body, and your body is never static when you play, and neither is your violin. Now, I'm going to just put my violin down for a moment so that my arm can rest a little bit, my left arm, because this is much harder work when you lie down, of course, but it builds stamina as well. So I'm just going to let my arm and my shoulder rest again. I'm going to do cactus arms again so that I can feel my shoulders touching the ground. And then when I'm really completely aware that all of my back is touching the ground, I'm just going to pick up my violin again, and I'm going to practice my bowing one more time. Where's my bow gone? Here. Okay. Stick it into your neck. There we go. And I'm going to go on the A string this time. And back. And feel the distribution of the weight in your bow arm. So this is actually really quite heavy. And as I play and I go with gravity, it comes down. And once again, stretch. Feel how heavy that arm is and let it fall down. course the exact opposite from how you would normally play. I'm coming up again because that is just what I wanted to share with you today. So when you bow and you bow against gravity on a down bow when you're lying down is in real life the power that you need to put into your bowing when you play an up bow, when you're standing up. And when you play standing up, your down bows go with gravity and they feel a lot heavier. But because we play normally in a standing up position, you don't realise how much difference there is like that. And that is a different experience, I think, when you lie down and you bow. It makes you realise how much difference there is between the down bows and the up bows. So if you feel that gives you a bit of a different experience today when you are playing lying down, do please write about it in the comment section, because I'm really interested to hear how that was for you and how you've experienced that, and whether you are a lot less tired now when you play, or maybe a lot more tired when you have just played lying down. So that's just something different to mull over and to maybe try again another day. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson, where I can reassure you we will be standing up again. Goodbye.